Hello. Okay, I think I'm live on both. I'm going live on Instagram vertical and then YouTube horizontal. So hopefully this works. I'm sat outside in the garden. It's a lovely day. I've tried to get my good vibes sign for you. Actually, I don't know if YouTube can quite see that. Let me try and tilt that a little bit. A little bit so you can see the good vibes, feel the good vibes. There we go. And yeah, I'm just sat out in the garden and I kind of want to do these lives like every Monday. I feel like it's a good chance for me to get my head in a good space. And let me sit back so I'm in the frame for YouTube. Get my head in a good space, process my thoughts. The weekend we get a lot of downtime, and I feel like when you are calm, if you don't work weekends, obviously everyone has different schedules. I tend to do some work at the weekend, but I also try to just like calm and go to ground. And that peaceful time is what I call my allowing time. And often when I'm really worked up about things, if I take that time out to just like calm and allow, suddenly lots of like bits of wisdom and things that seem profound to me but I've always known all along, which come online, which brings me nicely onto the topic that I have earmarked for today. I kind of set out these like different topics that I want to discuss every Monday, and the one that I put down today was intuition, which I feel like is very relevant for a Monday morning, because the thoughts that kind of come to me sometimes when I wake up on a Monday, and this isn't every Monday, this is on a good Monday, which today is a good Monday. Hopefully you can hear me. I've got a mic for YouTube, but I can only plug it into one phone, so I've gone with YouTube because, I don't know, I feel like that's long form content and whatever. It's just a choice, so we'll see. Hopefully shouting over like the waves and stuff, I would show you, but I feel like I'm going to ruin my setup. But the sea is there, and it is actually through that gap there. I don't know if you can, no, you can't quite see. One day when I get really strong internet, we'll start doing these lives like by the water in different places, but for now we're doing what we can. But anyway, Monday morning intuition, and yeah, I get all these thoughts and feelings, but they're often things that have occurred to me before, but it's just having that space to let the thoughts like breathe and percolate. And I think that is the essence of intuition, isn't it? It's like knowing things in ourselves, and sometimes we doubt that. I think we're programmed to kind of doubt what we know inside. And so when you give yourself space to kind of, instead of forcing things, like have you ever needed to do work or to get inspiration, to get an idea for something, and you try and force it and force it and force it and problem solve, and it's only when you like, take a break, and then you come back to it, suddenly you've got new thoughts and ideas. It reminds me of like studying and writing essays, and when you hit a wall and you're like, I can't think of any more points to make, and then you just call it a day and go to bed, and then the next morning you're like, oh right, that was trash, that was silly, that was great, let me do more of that. And that's the feeling that I tend to get on a Monday. So yeah, feeling intuition today. Hey Maz! I can see Mariam's slumped in. I know this is a random time for people. I was like, hopefully I can catch a couple of people in their lunch break. But if not, I'll try and leave this up on Reels, and I want to put it on my YouTube just to have like for myself. And okay, so intuition. What I was thinking about intuition was, it's interesting how many things we look to like outside sources to tell us, whether it's a friend, you've got a feeling, you want their opinion about someone you're dating, or what you should do in a work situation, or yeah, just little things all throughout life, and you'll ask your friends or your mum or your partner, or you'll go online and look for content around it. Water bottle's gone, it's fine. And really, how many times are you actually looking for an answer for someone to be like, this is what you should do, and to have an answer come out left field? And how many times are you actually looking for somebody to just confirm what you already knew, your intuition? And I think there's so much power when we recognize that 9 times out of 10 we already know what to do on the inside. And if we just skip the steps of needing the outside validation of the friend or the mum or the internet, and we just went with our gut, how much turmoil would we save ourselves? How much time would we save ourselves? And how much confidence would we gain from just going with our gut and our intuition? Because like I said, most of the time when we look for confirmation, we run a problem by somebody. It's not that we don't know what to do, it's that we need them to confirm what we already knew deep down. And why is that? What does that say? Like every time we do that and we check in with somebody else, what are we telling ourselves about our ability to judge a situation, our ability to act in alignment or in accordance with what we really want, our ability to judge people and characters? And I find that such an interesting concept, like how many times we make it acceptable to ourselves to doubt ourselves when we actually don't need to. And that's not to say that there's times where you should never check in with someone or just check, like, is it me? I think it's good to remain as objective as you can be and ask for outside counsel, but only when you're really genuinely seeking a different point of view, not when your gut is telling you something and you want to go against it. Because most of the time our gut is right. And what made me write down this prompt and want to talk about this today is, I think the reason our gut is right, intuition sometimes can sound very woo-woo, right? It can sound like it's a made-up thing. Oh, the spirits were just telling me that. And I believe, like, I'm quite a spiritual person. I do believe in other powers, but even wiping all of that to the side, intuition isn't always some sort of divine power coming into our brain. It's mostly based on gut feeling. And they say that your gut, there's so much science around this now. I feel like it's really in nowadays to talk about gut and gut health and that kind of thing. But your gut is like your second brain, because your literal gut, the part of your body, it has all of these pathways that are linked to the brain, linked to the rest of the body, and it can tell you so many things that are going on, not just physically and medically with you, but also emotionally. And there are a lot of people that have found that when you're going through stress or a situation that's not serving you, that isn't aligned, that is causing you some sort of inner turmoil, often you'll get problems in your gut. And haven't you before felt uneasy about something at work or in a relationship or just in yourself, and then it's manifested physically? You felt sick, you've got a stomach, like a real literal stomach ache, not like nerves or bubbles, like you feel ill, you feel unwell, your digestive system is off even though you've eaten the same things you would eat any other week, but somehow it's like really upsetting your stomach. Or other manifestations, your skin is bad, you're tired, you feel weak, and again, nothing else has changed on any other day. If you felt great about life, you could do all the things you're doing, drink the same amount of water, eat the same thing, and your body would be fine. But this time around, your body is out of whack. And it often starts with our gut when we have, like, especially digestive issues. Your gut is your second brain. It's where a lot of the processes in your body are happening, and that kind of goes outwards to the rest of things. And so your intuition, that gut feeling, when people say gut feeling, it isn't just a term, it really means your body knows before your brain and your heart know. If someone says something to you and instantly something in you, your gut's just like, oh, that doesn't sound right. Someone asks you if you want to do something and your gut says, oh, I don't think I want to. And it swells, and we dismiss it as nerves or as being shy. No, it's a gut feeling. Your body literally is telling you that's bad, and it's related to your brain and your nervous system. And I think the other thing about that I find interesting when it comes to intuition and gut feeling, and how we could say, like, oh, it's just woo-woo. Oftentimes, your gut feeling aren't just a feeling, they are a lived experience. You are an adult with however many years behind you, I'm guessing 20, 30, 40 more years behind you. You have all of this social proof, all of these situations where things have happened to you. You know, without having to remember, because we can't possibly remember and store in our brain, right, everything that's happened to us. But you know that you meet somebody, they say, oh, do you want to hang out sometime? Like, let's get a drink, let's hang out, let's go for a coffee. And your gut says, I don't want to hang out with this person. But there's no practical reason in your mind right now. You can't think they're nice, they're friendly. They say there's something they want to talk about. Maybe they want to talk about your work or something. And your brain goes, be polite, be nice. There's no real reason. They're being nice. They're showing all the outward signs of being friendly, and yet your gut is telling you, oh, I don't know if I want to do it. So you ask your friend, should I go? They're asking me, and I don't want to be rude. I don't want to make it awkward. Should I go? What your gut remembers that your brain doesn't have the capacity to remember, because there's too many memories over your lifetime. Your gut remembers that in your entire span of lifetime, there have been maybe 34 accounts where somebody has asked you to hang out or spend time with them like this, and you have done, and maybe out of those 34, 27, you wish you hadn't done it. Maybe 7 were awful, maybe 15 were not that great, and can't do the math now, what's the 12, the other 12 that were left were just like okay, but you would have rathered spending an hour and a half doing something else. All of that is stored in your like nervous system, in your cells, to manifest itself as a gut feeling. And it's the same with work promotions, where you're up for something happens at work and you don't know whether you should say something, bring it up. It's because your gut has experienced this before. Your body, you've experienced it before, and you have somewhere in the recesses of not just your gut but your brain the memory that, no, wait, I do have the confidence and the skills to do that, and I should have been recognised for that, and I know that, and it's happened many times now. but your short-term memory recall can't necessarily pinpoint the reasons why the gut feeling is practical. If this had happened last week, you would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say something because last week that happened in XYZ, went like this. And you know, if you'd had a bad situation last week where someone else had asked you out for coffee and it had gone really badly, this week you'd just be like, no, I'm not doing that again. You'd still have the PTSD. It's almost like how mums give birth and it's like traumatic AF, so I hear. And in the moment you'd be like, never again. But your body has ways of making you forget. My mum says this, and she's had 3 kids. It makes you forget what you go through. And obviously once you get the baby, there's all these endorphins to help that process so that you're willing to do it again. But somewhere deep down, you kind of know like, oh, it's not going to be great. But obviously afterwards it's worth it. Your body has ways of like suppressing things and pushing them down, but they are there. And a gut feeling or intuition is not just some woo-woo term for like, oh, I have a feeling about this, but I'm not sure, let me check in with my friend, and self-doubt and make myself. How many times as well, interestingly, are we willing to make somebody else feel uncomfortable so that we're not uncomfortable? Isn't that weird? Like imagine somebody, again, the same story, somebody invites you out for lunch or something, and you're like, I don't really want to go, but I don't feel like I have a good reason not to go, so let me just go, because I don't want to make them uncomfortable. But you know full well that if you go, there's a good chance that you'll feel uncomfortable. But for some reason, it's more palatable to you to risk making yourself uncomfortable than somebody else. Isn't that strange? When you, I think, should be the main character in your own game of life. We're all playing our own individual game of life. It's like a video game, and we're all into what's the word I'm looking for? Like, all the games are interspersed with each other. They're all mixing. So-and-so's playing over here, but in their game, they're the main character. They're navigating, and sometimes you'll cross over in the main areas and they'll go off and play. In your game, you're the main character. So if your gut and your intuition, which you played the game before and you died at some levels, let's not forget, and now you're back in the game and it's the 100th time, and you might not know, oh, I shouldn't go in that cave, but your gut is telling you, don't go in that cave. That is not nothing. That's because you played the game before. But because you only have so much memory, you only have so much RAM, you can't have all the hard drive, all the files of like every time you played the game. It's too much memory. But something is telling you, you can't see the versions of the game you played before, but something is telling you, your gut, your intuition is telling you not to do the thing. Or to do the thing. It doesn't always have to be something negative. Sometimes our gut is telling us to go for the promotion, to just ask, to just network, to just take someone out for coffee. Do you ever get an idea where you're like, I'd love to network, I'd love to be bold enough to just DM that person or walk up to them, or somebody introduces you at a party, or it's a friend of a friend, a social situation, and you really want to be like, oh, can I take your details, can I get your WhatsApp or Instagram? And you'd love to make a connection and reach out, but you're like, is it weird? I don't know. That's your gut, that's your intuition telling you that there's something good to be gained from that situation. But how many times, again, do we talk ourselves out of it? There's a quote that I've got here from a Tabitha Brown interview that my friend Elena sent me. She's always sending me really good stuff. I am going to find a way to link it. I think she sent it to me to Instagram, so I should be able to put it on my story. So I'll put it on my YouTube and my Instagram story. But it's Tabitha Brown did an interview with Lewis Howes, I think. Again, I'll link it. And she had so many quotes, so I'm going to basically break this interview down and keep referencing it in different YouTube videos over the next few weeks. But one of them was that obedience is harder than sacrifice. And I had to really sit with that one and play it a couple of times, but obedience is harder than sacrifice. And my interpretation of what she meant, and it's one of those interviews that I think I'm going to keep watching and taking different meaning from it every time because it was so profound. But to me, what she meant in that moment, because she was talking about, she'd been through a really hard time, she's really successful now, but had really believed in her cause, that she was going to be an actor, that she was going to be an entertainer and a business owner for many years, and many years driving Uber and just going to auditions, doing things. Her husband had a job, I think he was a policeman, so he was like, I trust you, you're doing your dream, go for it, you're going to make it one day. And she did, and now she's rolling in it, and they're doing really well in life. But for many, many, many years into, I think she was maybe in her 40s when she made it big. For many years, she was driving Uber, and she knew that she wanted to be an actor, so she just kept doing it, kept going with it. And then she was unwell at one point and kind of gave herself to God and was like, God, like, save me, and I will, like, if you help me out in this moment and take away this pain, I will do, like, whatever signs you send me, intuition, messages you send me to, like, follow my dreams. I'll listen, I'll be obedient, I'll do the thing. And so she becomes well, and then later on, God is telling her to do social content, to do reels and TikTok or whatever it was at the time. And she's like, I'm not doing that, I'm an actor. And agents and people at the time were telling serious actors, don't do that, it's not good for you. Of course, it's completely different now. Every actor under the sun has like a YouTube channel or a TikTok. At the time, it wasn't cool. But she kept getting these signs that she felt were signs from God to do social content. And she was like, why are you testing me? And remembered the voice telling her, you said if I saved you, you would hand yourself over to me. So anyway, she says, retrospectively, after this all worked out for her, that obedience is harder than sacrifice. That following your intuition, following your gut or signs from God, whatever you believe in, the universe, just your gut, your intuition, just listening to that and following it and staying the course, being obedient, not to anyone else, but to yourself, to your gut, to your cause, to your mission, is actually harder than, I think she was saying, the sacrifices that come with that. I have to listen to it again to know exactly which sacrifices, many ways it can be interpreted. But you kind of focus on, I think it was Lewis House had asked her, was it hard to, you're sacrificing money and your time to keep going to these auditions and keep believing in things? And she was like, it's the believing in it that's actually the harder part. It's not the time spent away from family when you're working towards your goal. And when she started getting opportunities, it's not the things you're missing out on that's the hard bit. It's the obedient. It's getting a sign, it's getting an opportunity, and it's believing in it enough to do the thing over and over and over again. And it's kind of something that I'm experiencing now with, I've always wanted to be a content creator, I've always wanted to be online, but like I've had different YouTube channels for over 10 years now. And I've always picked it up and put it down and picked it up and put it down and not been consistent with it. And I believe the reason that I haven't massively taken off is not because of the algorithm or anything, it's not because I'm not good enough, it's because I think I haven't been obedient enough to listen to my intuition in any one direction and just stay the course. I'll get intuition, I'll start going, then I'll lose track and start doubting myself and I'll drop it and I won't do any YouTube videos for a year and then I'll pick it up again. The same with Instagram. I think since, lockdown and everything, I was posting in 2020 and then didn't post anything for like over a year. I think like 2022, I don't think I posted anything, and picked it up a little bit at the end of last year and then dropped it again. And it's funny because Flood, one of my friends, and Andrea, so they're both saying like, yeah, you do this big announcement and you're like, I'm back, and then you like disappear again for months. And I was like, yeah, I do that because my intuition, my gut says it's time to get going with it. And then somewhere over the way I get disheartened or I just stop believing. I don't know why, because I know fully well that if I just keep going, at some point, could be tomorrow, could be in a year, could be in 5 years' time, I'm going to get successful. And it's happened to me before. Ironically, over lockdown, I had a YouTube video that I posted at least 1 or 2 years before, had like 100 views. I was like, whatever, I like the video I put. It was a coffee video actually, which I've just posted another coffee video. I like to make fancy coffees, makes me feel good. I'm all about making life feel good and nice. You can't see, oh, my sign's fallen, but it did say good vibes. All about making things feel nice and good, and I love to make like fancy coffees at home just to make my day nicer. So that I just posted a reel on that yesterday, and I will put it on YouTube Shorts as well. But I had made a coffee video, it just sat there, 100 views. I was like, I like the video, I'm not taking it down. Carried on what I was doing for a year or two. And then over lockdown, when no one could get to Starbucks, suddenly people were like, oh, that video is actually more useful to me now. And it spiraled, and now it's got like 200,000 views or something on YouTube, which is way bigger than anything else I've done. And again, so that's happened to me before. So I know that just because things aren't necessarily, just because there's not social proof or signs that things are going right, if my gut is telling me that something's good, my intuition tells me that was a good video to make and it was good content and to leave it up, I shouldn't need signs from the universe. Because if you keep waiting, excuse me, my nose is running, for signs from the universe, it's going to keep telling you, go this way and then you'll go that way and then you'll stop and then you'll go back. And it, as a human, that really wears you down when you're also dealing with the ups and downs of inspiration and motivation and energy anyway, which is something I'm really starting to try to recognize on my day to day. I don't always have energy. So when I do, like yesterday I was filming loads of TikToks because I had a ton of energy. But when I'm tired in 3 days' time, I don't want that exasperation to then tell me like, oh, well, it was a waste of energy and whatever, and no one's watched those because they're not good. No, they're good, they're fine. And maybe they'll take off as soon as I put them up. Maybe they'll be like the YouTube video and they'll take off in 2 years' time. My intuition, my gut is telling me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I'm not going to ask my friends what they think of it, because maybe it's not to their taste. Maybe they don't think it's funny, or they don't think it's nice vibes, or they don't like coffee. I'm not going to ask my mum what she thinks. I'm not going to take social proof from outside. My gut is telling me that the content that I make is nice for me, so it's going to be nice for someone else in the world, and that's all I need to know. And it's not a woo-woo thing, it's just, I know when I've made a bad video, because I've done it so many times. I've made hundreds of videos now. I know when I've made a video that's kind of trash and bad effort and I was just throwing it up, and I know when I've made a good video that felt nice. And that's not because of some woo-woo thing, it's my gut. That's because I've made enough videos now that I know without really having to question. So I think that's my message for today is, have you ever had a situation that you went with when you knew in your gut that it was wrong? You knew in your gut that like it wasn't going to serve you, but you did it anyway because you felt obliged for whatever reason. I'm sure if you think back, you can think of times when your gut was telling you that something wasn't for you, but you did it anyway. Maybe you asked around and people said that you should. Maybe you saw other people doing it, but for whatever reason you ignored your gut. And then has there been anything that your gut was telling you was positive, and maybe you didn't do it? You didn't go for it. Your gut was telling you to go for the promotion, to reach out to the person who you'd lost contact with, to ask someone out for coffee, but you didn't do it, and you look back and you're like, oh, I feel like I missed that opportunity. You're always going to remember that one as like a what if. The other thing is, especially when it comes to reaching out and asking people, if you already don't have a relationship with that person, if that door isn't already open to you, you've got nothing to lose by just pushing on the door and seeing if it opens. You push and it swings open and all these things unfold, great. Or you push and it doesn't open. It's fine, nothing lost. And I think you lose a lot more opportunities in life in the doors that you don't push than the ones that you do push and it turns out they were locked. And there's that old saying that when a door is closed, it means there's a window open. And guess what? Windows tend to be higher up. So that's kind of fun to think about. So that is my kind of feeling today that I just wanted to share, see if anybody else could resonate. Also, positive note to end on. Have you ever had a gut feeling that like you felt like I've got no business doing this or going after this or refusing this, but my gut is just telling me to do something, and you didn't wait for like social proof and facts and whatever. You're just like, my gut says to do it, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go on the holiday. I'm going to meet up with the person. I'm going to reject the job offer. Like whatever. And now looking back, you're like, yeah, that was the right decision. I'm going to move without reason or knowing anyone or money. I'm just going to pack my things and go, and it's worked out. Those are the moments that I think that we should really hold on to and hold space for, because when we stay in that pocket of like positivity, I think our mind is then open to more positivity. And when your mind is open, you see opportunities that you would ordinarily have walked past because you would have doubted your gut, and you would have been like, I need X, Y, Z. I know so many people. I saw an Instagram reel yesterday of a woman who saw was looking for a job, was like job hunting, saw a company that she loved, but they weren't hiring, but she loved the founder especially, was like a really good speaker. She was like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. I'm just going to email them, tell them how much I love the company, and ask, is there any, like, can they keep me in mind for roles in the future? She got a message back from the founder who said, we will always make room at the table for people like you who are passionate, who believe in the cause and who are hardworking and are go-getters. And now she works there and absolutely loves it. And her gut told her to send that email. But if she had asked around or looked for any physical, immediate proof, she looked on the jobs board, it wasn't on there, but her gut told her to go for it and it worked out. And that's the type of like mindset that I want to be in. So today I'm going to keep producing content, putting things out there. I've got another TikTok to share now, which is a funny one, so that'll be nice. And I'm going to keep going with these lives, even though I don't, just like my besties log on and I love you guys for it. And a couple of people I went to school with, that's so nice. Hi Karen, I'm just looking through Sanya. Oh, this is so nice. yeah, so even though I don't get huge numbers, there are people who log in, and thank you, it's so cute of you, appreciate it. I'm just going to leave it up there because you never know, this reel might in 2 years time like go like semi viral for me, and that's it. I feel like it's a good message to share, so I'm going to keep going, keep believing in it. And I encourage you guys to follow your gut as well, whether it's telling you to avoid something or to go after something. I'm reading a book at the moment called The Power of Consistency. It's really good. It's by, he tells you straight off the bat he was in jail, and it's in jail that he kind of really decided to get his together. And he really emphasizes straight off the beginning of the book, like I thought he was going to be talking about motivation and discipline. He doesn't. He talks about how when it comes to being consistent, we all know what we need to do, whether it's a work promotion or being better in our relationships, getting a better social life, feeling good, getting healthy. We know what we need to do. And I found it interesting because when I found this book, I was going through Audible, had all these personal development books about sales and marketing and habit forming, and some that I'd read before, some that I hadn't, and I was like, I don't want to read any of these at the moment. I feel like I'm in a good pace with like, I felt, honestly, I was like, I know what I need to do. I don't need to read a book to tell me how to build habits. I've read James Clear like twice now. I know what to do. I was like, I don't know what it is. And when I get like that, sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just listen to a novel instead. Maybe I don't want to do a personal development book, because I do think that there's such a thing as too much personal development. But just so happened in my wish list, which I don't remember adding, but someone must have recommended it, which is always a good sign. Whenever anyone who I admire recommends a book, I'll always add it to my wish list on Audible. So they had recommended this book called The Power of Consistency by Weldon Long. And so I thought it was going to be more of like a personal development. Here's how to make lists to become consistent, all the stuff I already know. And lo and behold, he opens the book by being like, you know what you need to do. It's just a case of doing it. And that's what consistency comes down to. It's not like a framework or a routine or a ritual. It's how can you get yourself to do the thing you need to do. Like if you want to get better at work, if you want to get a promotion, if you want to make more money, if you want to make more friends, if you want to get in shape, you know what you need to do. You know how to create a calorie deficit to lose weight. You eat healthier and you work out more. Eat less calories, burn more calories. It's very simple. You know, more than likely in your job, there's a framework, right? There's a pathway to promotion, and you know the steps you need to go through. But it's making ourselves be consistent with it. That is the hard part. And I find that interesting, bringing it back to gut and intuition. I already know what I need to do to be successful in all the different things that I'm building. The problem that I have is waking up every day and staying focused on my vision and on my path and the things that I set out to do yesterday, that's the TikTok that I put up, is just about that, like the two different feelings of like, oh yeah, I'm going to do all the things, and then the next day not trusting my gut and not following through. And that's a practice that I'm really trying to get my head around at the minute. It's like, I feel really good about my intuition and my gut at the minute. I'm really focused on it. But it's like, okay, how can I now be consistent and follow through and honor that version of me? Because that version of me is absolutely killing it. And it's not for lack of knowledge. There's my friend Jade told me about this scale of like knowledge, and there's unconscious incompetence where you don't know what you don't know, right? And that's a tough spot to be in. Then there's conscious incompetence where you're aware of what you don't know, and it's a case of learning the things. So that might be like upskilling at work so that you're ready for the promotion. That might be, you know that you don't know what a calorie deficit is and how to lose weight, so maybe you want to research that. Then there's a third step, which is conscious competence, which is where I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, where you fix those things and you become good at them, and you know that you're getting better and you feel it, which is kind of the stage that I feel like I'm at now. I know what I need to know, it's just a case of putting it into action. And then the fourth step is unconscious competence, where you, or unconscious competence, where you are so good at what you do that it's just like walking, it's like breathing, you don't even know what you don't know. And you realise that sometimes when you try and teach people other things and they're like, what is that? And you're like, oh, it's just this. And they're like, yeah, I don't understand. And you realise there's a gap there because you are so unconscious of your competence that you don't even realise how competent you've become. So I'm scaling that ladder at the minute, and I'm at the bit where I know what I don't know, and I've pretty much learned what I don't know in terms of knowledge. It's everything, like the ball's very much in my court. I have all the tools that I need. I just need to Um, yeah, I just need to start doing it. I just need to stick with my gut, my intuition, and get up every day and just follow through the steps of getting more clients for my marketing, and keep doing the social posts and content creation and things like this live. So I'm glad that I've made myself do this today. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully you've heard something. I'm really sorry to my Instagram fam if you can't hear anything, but you're so cute for joining. I literally love you. Oh, hi Sonia, hi Maz, hi Jade. Oh, you're so cute. Okay, I am gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for watching, and it's so intrigued to see what the hell this sounds like, and I can't even see my other phone to see if I'm on YouTube right now, but I think I am. If there's anything that anyone has been thinking about, because I want to do these more regularly, we'll see, consistency. So I have a few different topics, but basically I just want to share in my mind I'm rebuilding my life really intentionally. I moved, I started over, and I'm building the blocks of building a life to me that feels really good. I just want to build a good life, and being self-aware and mindful and intentional is a big part of that, and that's what I want to come and ramble about on these lives, just different ways that I'm finding to feel good about life and feel energized and recognize things in myself. So if anyone ever has anything like that they kind of are oh, I've been thinking about this, or I read this, or isn't this interesting, do let me know, because I'm always looking for inspiration. But that was it. I hope that you all have a great week, great Monday. Keep this in mind throughout the rest of this week. What is your gut telling you? I want my voice to be in your head, my gut's telling me. What is your gut telling you to just avoid, cut off, no questions asked? I like the saying, if it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. If it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. Time is precious, it's a finite resource. And if something isn't a hell yes, it's a no. And also, no is a full sentence. You don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to hedge and oh, but I don't want to do that. No. My gut is telling me it's not a hell yes. No thank you. Respectfully, no thank you. That's all you need. So think about that this week. Go with that energy. If your gut's telling you to go with something, just do it. Send them a WhatsApp, send the DM, send the email, apply, and just see what's the worst that can happen. If you're already at zero, you don't really have much to lose. So just push the door and see what happens. Have a good week, and I will be posting on all the places throughout the week. So if you're on Instagram, check out my YouTube channel. There's tons of similar content on there, and vice versa. YouTube guys, check out my Instagram, and I'll be back soon. Thank you for listening. It feels really good. Thanks for letting me share. Love you. Ooh, I actually can't sing a thing on here, YouTube fam. I'm gonna have to go inside. Oh, actually, I'll give you an exclusive preview of the water that the Instagram fam didn't see. Let's go over here. So hopefully you can see that patch of blue is the agua. It's very choppy right now. But I think at some point I'll do my lives by the water now that I have this microphone. Okay, have a great day.